Oh, just right now we're still on, so we haven't made a call on the game or not. It looks like there's a window where we could get this thing going. So we've talked to the Royals, and Matt and I have talked, and so right now it's still on.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Oh, don't change now.
Um, the grass is wet, pretty wet.
Yeah.
Why would you risk that?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes you have the grass wet. I mean, we are planning on checking it out 11:30 the grass. See how wet they're going to start blowing it off to warning track, start trying to get the grass even drier, and so if it's not playable, then you don't play it. But there's times when you play with the grass wet.
Where DH is concerned, I'm just like looking at opening day, assuming the Phillies start Nola, right-hander. You going to use a right-handed, left-handed kind of platoon with DH Sunday?
You know what? I would say that. I think it's going to be, who we think's the best matchup. That may not be a right-hander versus a left-handed bat. Who's swinging well? So there's some variables that are involved with who does DH. Not somebody may run with it. I don't know yet, but I think we do have some options. You look at, of course, behind the plate. You look at one of our catchers, Miller. Really can't say anybody else because I can't tell you who's on the club.
Well, I mean, I was thinking that this kind of looked
because
like...
we don't have it. Yeah, I didn't mean it like that. I can't tell you because I know right now we don't have the.
I was just thinking that this kind of looked like an opening day batting order if you're facing a right-hander.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah, possibly, yeah.
So
But that's not the lineup today.
It changed.
Oh, it changed.
Oh, you haven't seen the new lineup.
Yeah, well, it's almost completely changed.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Sorry.
So that's when
All right,
you.
well,
So when you first said that, I went, okay.
Yeah, those guys won't be playing on the wet grass.
Okay, great.
He doesn't have the
Good job, Evan. Good job. Sorry, go ahead, Kennedy. Maybe you can ask questions with accurate information.
No, the one starter that's staying is Jonah. He's behind the plate, but I've scratched the rest of them. Just because we could be hanging around. They're going to play tomorrow night against the Dodgers. So, I just put the kids in there and let them start and get some playing time.
Good job on that. Go ahead.
Jake Odorizzi, is there any way he's ready for opening day?
No, I think that's a sure thing. I can tell you. So I can't tell you when he's going to be ready. I mean, he's getting his work in and everything, but the pitch where he needs to pitch. I don't see him being ready opening day.
So he has, the last thing on the notes, if I'm correct, says he last threw a bullpen March 5th, which is...
I have it down. He's thrown, I think a light one or two, but
Does he have a setback?
we're just slow playing him. I wouldn't say it's a setback, but just being cautious with him.
So what does that mean for Dane Dunning, Glenn Otto, Cole Reagans, those other starters lower down on the depth chart there?
Well, I mean, obviously it means we need to fill that role, that spot that Odorizzi, was going to be in. So, does that involve one of them? Sure. I think that's fair to say because we're going to need somebody to help us, but particularly early in the season with innings, and so it does open things up a little bit, I guess you could say, for one of them.
with Reagan's, so he's had 2 Tommy Johns. Because of that, does that influence a decision in terms of maybe you're more reluctant to start him in the bullpen at the big league level and then transition him back to a starter and then kind of move him back around because he's a younger guy with 2 Tommy Johns, or is that not really, like, whereas it maybe a healthier guy, you wouldn't be as concerned, hey, to start the year, you're going to be a 2 to 3 inning guy, but then we're going to build you back up to be a starter, and then who knows what happens 3 months later. The yo-yoing for a guy like Reagan's, is that?
No. Very good question. We've talked about it. You can look at how you get guys in the bullpen ready for the season. Sometimes it's going back-to-back days or, just a day off. Right now we're keeping him stretched out. I mean, you have to love the way he's throwing the ball, and he certainly gives us an option there. Now, if it's long relief, yeah, I think you do have to keep a watchful eye on him. You'd ask somebody who's been in a role he's probably not quite used to. That's part of our job. So, and when we break here, depending on what we end up doing, it's how we have our pitchers prepared. And when you're talking about Cole, it's do you get them ready to maybe bounce back a little bit more? And so we're still talking about that, but right now our priority is to keep letting him doing what he's doing, the way he's throwing the ball, and don't change anything. If he's with us and throwing 3-4 innings, then we'll treat him almost like a starter. We'll make sure he has his rest.
So, all right. Uvalde, DeGrom. Likely on pitch counts, pretty restrictive to start the year, I would expect.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's usually 75-ish or so.
Right.
I'm looking at guys who I would think would probably be in your bullpen, and I don't see like a ton of multi-inning guys, particularly if Odorizzi's not going to be on the opening day roster.
Yeah.
So do you need to consider carrying a couple more multi-inning guys?
Oh, I think you have to consider it, sure. When you're looking at, and normally when you start the season, you're on somewhat of a pitch count anyway, but I think that's fair to say that we will be on a little stricter one with, where these guys will be, particularly with, our first 2 starters going out there. I mean, we got to have those innings, so I think you do have to consider that part of our bullpen, making sure we have multi-innings along, the innings that we need. So, yeah. In fact, Mike and I were just talking about it.
Can I go through a couple of these guys just in terms of like how you prefer to use them in terms of innings?
Okay.
Leclerc, I would assume, would be a 1-inning guy.
For the most part, I'd get an out, bring him back.
Smith, 1-inning guy.
For the most part, I think he could, go 2 innings.
Hernandez
Same as Leclerc.
and Barlow.
Same.
Okay. So
You look at, you are looking at guys you more look at as sprinters. They're your shorter guys.
do you want to try and keep Burke to 1 inning this year?
No.
You're more content. You're content to pitch him for more than 3 outs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's what he's used to. He's had success doing it. Yeah. He's the guy I look at as a 2-inning guy.
And Hearn is a 2-inning guy in your mind.
Yeah.
You need another long guy.
Well, we don't know what the team is yet, but you're right. Yeah, I'm not saying anybody. We determine who's on the club yet.
No,
but,
I know that. Believe me, I know that.
Okay, so but there's a few names you mentioned. They have not mentioned there. So, but I can tell you there's going to be some help on the long side there. I think there needs to be.
Do you have another question on that? Or either?
Well, the only other question on that for me is like, again, to go back to, in particular, Dunning and Reagan's. Those to me seem to be your, especially with Odorizzi out, those are your first two starting depth.
Mhm.
If you, with these guys' injury history, do you risk anything if you?
These guys who
Your starting rotation. I mean.
oh, okay.
With their past injury history, do you risk anything if you turn Dunning and Reagan's into 2 or 3 inning pitchers, because then they won't be stretched out if you need them.
No, I think when you go through the season, they're not just limited to 2 or 3 innings. I mean, sometimes those guys go longer. Sometimes they spot start. That keeps them stretched out, to where you don't feel like you're risking injury.
So you would, it's not as imperative to you to have them on pitching every 5th day so that they can mirror some of those guys.
It's something that you have to discuss. I'll say that, but no, I like to think we're going to break with our best guys that fills the needs that we have on this club.
With the defensive positioning, I know we talk a lot about how many on either side of second, but with the depth part of it, not being able to be on the grass, have you noticed anything, or have you got any feedback from your infielders, particularly your middle infielders, on just not being able to be as deep as they
You know what? I haven't. You know what? I'll talk to them about it, because I haven't heard anything. It's probably going back what they're used to, because they've been around for a while, so it's like riding a horse, I guess, and so they're back to doing what they did when they came up. So no, it's still somewhat. It's not a complete shift, but if you look, they're still not far from second base. But I haven't heard any comments on their side. It's funny. Yeah, I haven't.
You ride a lot of horses growing up? So it's like riding a horse. I've only ridden like 2 horses.
What have you learned about Marcus Simeon?
What have I learned?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've learned anything, because he's everything I heard.
Which
Which is he's the consummate teammate, worker. Just a tremendous guy that shows up every day and gets his work in, and also is a leader in that clubhouse, getting guys to follow him. So it's been all that I've heard about him.
What did you heard about his routine and his preparation?
Well, that's what I heard. He's got his routine preparation. He doesn't deviate from it. He's relentless with his work ethic. Wants to play every day. He doesn't want any days off. It's just who he is, and so it's this way he's been here. He's been great.
You've done this a long time, many spring trainings. After the hiatus, has this one felt different?
I guess in this respect, because the rules are a little different, so it's adjusting to that. But I'll be honest. Once the game started, it's the same game, even though things have been tweaked a little bit. But so when I first got here, it was a little bit of a surreal feeling, because I'd had 3 years off, and so just landing in Arizona, driving here, coming in the clubhouse, but once we got things going here, it was pretty much business as usual, and we're still doing pretty much the same type of stuff that we were doing, with a few adjustments here or there.
What have you seen from Nathaniel defensively at first? I know you weren't here last year, but from what some of the coaches have shared with you, in what ways has he grown defensively?
Yeah. No, he's been really flawless over there. If you look at his spring, he hasn't had a whole lot of action, but I know that's an area that he's talked about. He wants to just continue to get better. He's worked hard at it, and I heard even last year, as the season went, he got better and better, and that work has continued here. I know, both Rags and Bees have been spending a lot of time with him, and so, I don't, for me, you hear things, but you still want to form your own judgment, whatever, and he's been really good over there.
When it comes to defensively, how much do you weigh, I guess, the eye test versus some of those advanced analytics, like defensive run save and outs above average, things like that?
Yeah, how much? I mean, I think you have to look at numbers, but I'm not all in on the defensive stuff, metrics. I don't think they're 100% accurate, to be honest. I do believe in the eye test, and particularly with players that you see a lot, your own players. I just don't think they have a way to be 100% on how they determine the metrics on the guys. So I do think you have to trust yourself in your eyes, and but you still have to look at them, I think.
So do you think Nathaniel is better than the metrics suggest? I guess the ones that are public to us.
Yeah. I mean, I just haven't seen any reason not to think that he's not going to be a really good first baseman. Now, I wasn't here, but I heard that was an area he needed to work on, and it's evident that he's done that. Again, he hasn't had a lot of action over there, but even in the fundamentals, watching him and everything, he looks confident. He's doing all the things you want your first baseman to do, and including the game awareness, where to throw the ball, and things like that.
So I shouldn't quote defensive run save. You don't want me to quote that? No DRS talk?
You can quote it.
Just gonna call bullshit on it?
Yeah. I mean, how can they? I mean, really, be 100% on that stuff?
I don't know that you can adhere to it religiously, right? But I think it also does serve some kind of it's just a general impact.
Right, journals look probably a little bit of a base, but yeah, still.
I'll go back. You're not scratching the whole lineup today, right? That they're all playing. You haven't changed the lineup since.
What's the weather like?
Looks good.
So
we have rain coming.
I think we're in the clear.
We're in the clear. You'll
So
see that.
how
You'll
do
see
we
that
feel
lineup.
about- how do we feel
I didn't
about-
scratch my lineup. They scratch their pitcher. Where they change pitchers, not scratch them.
Did they? Lyles wasn't scheduled to pitch yesterday.
No. I was talking about today. Kershaw.
Yeah.
He was in their pitcher yesterday.
Yes.
Doc texted me, told me Kershaw's going, so I guess he got bumped because of the weather. I brought glasses in here, didn't
you
I?
dropped them. I just don't want you to
Oh,
step on them.
thanks.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm losing my mind. Thanks.
So we're not pronouncing what you're playing today is what you're using today is going to start on March 30th.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's. Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to find all that stuff out.
Yeah, you get the big Yosh in there, so against the left-hander. Yeah.
What have you seen from Yoshi so far?
You know what? He's looked good, hasn't he? He throws out pretty good at bats. I mean, he got that left-hander pretty good. He's been all right first. He was behind, but I think he's caught up pretty quick. He did get a ton of at bats in the minor league, so before we put him in the game. So, I think that was really good for him. But haven't really had to look at him in left field, to be honest. But he throws out some nice at bats.
At this point in the spring, how much of your decision making is based on, kind of past track records, with the older guys, and then how much is wanting to keep your mind open also too to what the younger guys are doing in camp? How do you balance that?
Emily, as far as
Making decisions in terms of the roster.
of the roster
Yeah.
itself. Okay, I didn't know if you meant how I'm playing them or where I'm.
Or all that, because I'm sure it all
yeah,
goes into it.
Yeah. I mean, you have to look at track record. I mean, it's got to play a part. I mean, I've had 25 spring trainings, and I've been fooled a lot. Not just me, but you can, because some guys come in more ready. Some guys come in from playing winter ball. So that comes into play. I think you you do bear down. At this time, the last couple of weeks are when you really focus in. But still, you can't forget about what they've done. There's some guys just aren't good spring training players. Some are really good. I've had guys come in and never make an out. They make their club, and then they get that upper deck and those bright lights, and then they're different players. So but still there's usually a spot or two where this spring training plays a big part in it, and I'm being honest, it does. Because you want to break camp with, you say your best players, but the guys who are playing the best at that time, and that last spot or two that could come into play.
Have you guys had any conversations about Martin and the Venezuelan team?
No, I've had them penciled in case they got beat, and they didn't get beat. But it's just he's going to keep pitching as long as they're going.
They've not given you any indication that he's going Saturday?
No, I haven't heard.
Are you pretty involved in those conversations? Do they check in with you on that kind of stuff?
Actually, Mike, I know he's kind of keeping in touch, with them about his situation. So I don't know about CY, but no, I haven't had any contact with what you think. I did play 3 years there, but I don't know their group, the manager and pitching coach.
So you started Duran at shortstop yesterday.
Right.
Is there a purpose to that, or just not?
You know what? I just told him, I said, I know I moved you around a lot. You're doing a great job. And I said, I'd like to move you even more, Take a look at center field, shortstop, because he's got the potential to be a super utility player. I mean, you talk about the bat, but he also does a pretty good job for you defensively wherever you put him. So you never know what's going to happen during the season, and so there's always boxes that you want to check off before you leave spring training. It's just like Miller. Miller played a little left and third base in the minor league game a couple of days ago. I want him continue to do that. So I think it's going to be good for him. Once he can handle it, it's a lot easier doing it, and he has no problem. He says, I'm good playing anywhere.
Can he play shortstop in your mind?
Oh, I think he could go out there. We're not talking about everyday shortstop, but not that I would ever rule that out with the kid. He's got good actions, good hands, but there's no reason why he couldn't fill in there.
Who's been the star of this camp for you?
Well, we have a little thing. We give the fungo. We give the special fungo to the coach of the day. So Lucky got it from me today, our trainer. So, but to be serious, I think. There's some guys doing really well. Josh Young's had a good spring, young guy. I think you look at Cole, what he's been doing, Reagan's. I mean, they've just had really nice springs, and I mean the veterans have played very well too. You know, so and catchers, I love the job they're doing behind the plate. So I don't want to pick out one person, but you know, those guys have all done a great job.